Night Football Fever on WSBT-22 is brought to you by Zolman's Tire and Auto Care. The hits start right now.
It is playoff time in Indiana. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Friday Night Football Fever. I'm Pete Byrne.
And I'm Leo Goldman. Pete, for most teams in our area, the postseason, it starts tonight. Sectional play beginning in classes 1 through 4.
That's right. And in Class 4A, Sectional 18 is loaded. 3 teams, Riley, Northridge, Northwood, all finished the year with records of 7-2 or better, and all 3 are also ranked as their march towards Lucas Oil begins.
That's a gauntlet.
So let's head out to Father Bly Field, where we start with 7-2 Northwood, a difficult opener on the road at South Bend St. Joe, and both teams, of course, would love to keep their seasons alive, and it's the Panthers who march right down the field on their first series. A healthy dose of Landon Perry on the ground. He gets the call from inside the 5 and reaches for the goal line. Northwood touchdown. Panthers led 10-0 after the opening quarter, but St. Joe played tough tonight. They refused to back down in the second quarter. Alex Ortiz, looking downfield, delivers a strike to Hayden Miller in stride, who takes it 44 yards for the touchdown. Don't look now, we've got a 3-point game. It's 10-7. But then Northwood finds another gear. They go on a run before halftime. Great play design. Owen Rader rolls one way, throws back the other to Perry, who takes it in untouched to the end zone. Northwood would close the first half on a 21-0 run, and then it was on from there. The Panthers win big tonight, 52-10.
And they will get the winner of Plymouth and South Bend, Washington. Pete, the first quarter was all Plymouth. Graydon Metzger on the QB keeper from just a few yards out to break the scoreless tie. Rockies taking a 7-0 lead. Ensuing drive for the Panthers. Plymouth's defense, though, wasn't giving them anything, not even an inch. Christopher DeLee breaking into the backfield and wreaking havoc with the sack from the big fella. And the Rockies would get the ball back, but this drive would have the same result. On fourth down, Metzger finds Aiden Van Duzen. He's got reservations for 6, but Pete can't win a game in the first quarter. You got to play all 4. Washington with a wild comeback win, and they win 43-25.
Congrats to Jay Johnson and the Panthers, moving on and living another week. Now, bottom half of the bracket, 8-1 South Bend Riley. What a season they've had. Opening up tonight, though, on the road at WSC, and despite Riley's best season in more than 50 years, they would struggle tonight. WSC runs a reverse in the opening quarter to Hunter Tinky. That's a finalist for the highlight of the night. WSC has the lead over 8-1 Riley. Now the Wildcats would have their chances to score. Second quarter, they move the ball all the way inside the 20, 4th and short. They're going for it, and they're not going to get it. That was the story of tonight's game, as WSC wins tonight 35-26. Riley's season comes to an end with a record of 8-2. WSC's moving on to face Northridge next Friday night. Northridge rolling over Logansport 39-3. The Raiders will be home for that game. Northwood will host South Bend, Washington.
Let's move to Sectional 17. The 2 teams with the best records meeting tonight. 7-2 New Prairie hosting 7-2 Hobart. Cougars made it all the way to Lucas Oil last year. Tonight they got their return trip off to a good start. Marshall Kamichek with his team down 7-0. Turns out Kamichek is still that dude, taking it all the way for a 57-yard score. Get the Cougars going. We're tied at 7. Later in the first quarter, back to the ground game for New Prairie. Reed Robinson getting space, finding time, and strolling into the end zone. 14-7 Cougars. How about one more for the road? Kamichek calling his own number once again. Same result. Touchdown New Prairie. They win 49-14.
And they will face Kankakee Valley next Friday night in the semifinal. And on the other half, Culver Academy gets a win over Lowell 17-7, and they're going to wake the winner of East Chicago Central and Highland. Moving on to Class 3A now, another monster matchup on opening night. For the second time in the last 3 years, Tippy Valley has run through the regular season undefeated, but the program's still in search of its first sectional title since 1992.
I wasn't even born at that point. And changing that this year will not be easy. And you know why? That's because the Vikings drew the #1 team in the state, Indianapolis Chittard, in the opening round.
Yeah, very, very difficult draw. And adding to the challenge, they got to go on the road.
Because it wasn't difficult enough.
Right? So you got #3 versus #1. This would be a great state championship game, but heck, let's do it on opening night. Second quarter, Chittard up 7-0. They hand it off and walk into the end zone. Just like that, Trojans have a 14-0 lead, but game changes right here on the ensuing kickoff. Tippy misplays the kick. You can see the ball's on the turf. Chittard is going to take over with great field position. Cannot do that against anybody, let alone the #1 team in the state, and they will pay for it. Colin Guy hauls in the touchdown pass. #1 Chittard ends Tippy's season tonight, 40-7 the final. Great year for the Vikings. They finished with a record of 9-1.
Sectional 26, we've got Marion taking on West Noble in the opening quarter. Marion marching down the field. Bryce Lassane avoids the rush and says the end zone is where I call home. Scrambles in for the score, 7-0 Knights early on. West Noble looking to answer deep ball from Drew Yates to Braden Barth, and he is down inside the 5. And Yates, well, he's going to call his own number here. Finishing off the drive by himself with the QB keeper. It is good for the touchdown. It came down to a 33-yard field goal by West Noble to get the win with 4 seconds left, 46-43.
So West Noble shocks Marion, and they're moving on to face the winner of Knox and Lakeland. And let's pick this up on the very first play of the game. Why wait? Lakeland, little swing pass to Keanu Arroyo, who's got the edge, and now he's got the rest of it. He goes 70 yards for the score on the first play from scrimmage. Lakeland wants to pull an upset. That's a good start. They're up 6-0. Back comes Knox, though. It's their quarterback, Miles McLaughlin, who keeps it himself, weaves through some traffic, and he's going to take it for a long touchdown. And we are all tied at 6, and Knox would pull away from there. Second quarter, they're in control now when they give it to Jake Conroy, who's going to stroll into the end zone for another touchdown. Knox beats Lakeland tonight, 46-19, the final.
On the top of the bracket, Jimtown visiting Fairfield. Fairfield lining up to punt. Nothing too crazy. La-di-da. Oh, wait, it's a fake. But Jimtown's Jackson Clopton says tricks are for kids, and he picks off the pass. Little trickery going on there. And here come the Jimmies. Mason Armstrong with the sweep to Colin Crispin, picking up some good yards. Maybe he's headed for 6.
And Jimtown's down a touchdown right here,
yeah,
so this is huge.
Absolutely. So Jimtown gets stopped. They're going to go for 3 here. Just to the right of the post. Oh, by inches. Fairfield wins it 17-6.
That's the Falcons' first win ever over the Jimmies in the postseason. They are moving on, and they will face John Glenn, a shutout winner over South Bend Clay tonight. And again, as we showed you in the bottom half of the bracket, Knox and West Noble will meet up. Knox will be the host of that game. Okay, that wraps up our coverage for Class 4A and 3A, but we still have 2 more classes that we need to get to tonight in about 2 minutes from now. Plus, Niles looks for its first conference title since 2001. We're going to head north of the state line to show you if they can get it done when Friday Night Football Fever returns.
Watching Friday Night Football Fever on WSBT-22, sponsored by Zolman's Tire and Auto Care.
Welcome back to Friday Night Football Fever. Our coverage of the Indiana Sectional Playoffs continues now with Class 2A.
Yeah, Pete, the Lancers from LaVille cruise through the regular season. Count them 8 wins, but tonight they're beginning their march towards a second sectional title in the last 3 years. And the Lancers would host Andrean in the first round in what we are going to call the Mud Bowl. Second quarter, LaVille up 3-0. Look out, a wild snap. LaVille's Jonathan Neese comes up with it to give his team fantastic field position, and they were not going to let it go to waste. Lucas Plummer, this young man making moves. Couldn't find anybody downfield, so he says, check it out, fellas. I'm going to do it myself. 27 yards to the house for 6. Tacks on a 2-point conversion as well. Lancers up by 11 just before the end of the half. Andrean on the LaVille side of the field. Colin Jarnecki leaps and says, come here, ball, give me that. The pick would just about end the first half. LaVille wins a nail-biter, 25-23.
So the Lancers are moving on. They're going to get the winner of Lake Station Edison and Whiting, and that is Whiting a winner in that game by quite a large margin. On the other half of the bracket, Bremen goes on the road tonight and beats Hammond Knoll 42-7. They will host Wheeler next Friday night. Continuing in Class 2A, Sectional 34 now, it was Winnemac visiting Lafayette Central Catholic. Opening quarter, Central Catholic on the move, but Winnemac's Addison Allen punches the football out. There it is, and the Warriors are going to pounce on it. Winnemac takes over, but they were not able to turn that into points, and now the Knights come back on their next drive, and they do. Bobby Metzger, perfect pass to Hudson Gutwine for the touchdown. It's 6-0 Central Catholic. As we move to the second quarter, that combo would work again for Lafayette Central Catholic. Metzger to Gutwine for another score. They beat Winnemac 42-14. Central Catholic will face Rochester next week in the semis. In Class 1A tonight, it was North Judson, Triton, and Culver all winning their opening round games. North Judson awaits the winner of Bowman Academy and South Newton. Triton will head to Culver next Friday night. And the sectionals, of course, will continue with second round games, and the tournament begins for our area teams in Class 6A and 5A. Also next week, the beginning of the playoffs in the state of Michigan.
And tonight, a few area teams, though, hoping to cement their place in the postseason. And of course, who can forget? We've got a conference champ to crown.
That's right. The Niles Vikings have dominated the competition this year. They are 7-1. They are winning by an average margin of victory of 50 points per game. That's 5-0, not 1-5, yes.
a lot.
But tonight, they get perhaps, at least on paper, their toughest test of the year. That's because Niles is hosting undefeated Paw Paw, 2 playoff teams. Winner gets the Wolverine Conference title all to themselves, and Niles was ready right from the jump. Second play from scrimmage, they pitch it to Julian Means-Flewellen, who makes a man miss, and now he's got nothing but turf ahead of him. 87 yards later, he is dancing in the end zone, and Niles was dancing all night long. They beat Paw Paw 56-18. Congrats to the Vikes on the first conference title since 2001. Tonight in the Wolverine Conference, it was Edwardsburg closing out the regular season with a win, 59-33. Otsego edges Three Rivers, and St. Joe a big win. They finished 6-3. They will definitely be heading to the playoffs.
A couple of playoff-bound teams wrapping up their regular season. Lakeshore visiting Portage Central. Opening drive for the Lancers. Jake Denduven dropping back, looking deep, and he's picked off by Carson Schneerstein. So the Mustangs with the short field. Nick Green going to get the handoff here. And he's got vision for 6, Pete. It's right in his right there for him.
He's got it. He doesn't
but you got to cross the goal line. That's the problem. Lakeshore's Zach Meacham was there to get it, but unable to capitalize on the turnover. Carson Schneerstein with a touchdown here as Lakeshore is blanked tonight, 42-0.
Other results for you. Last week, Berrien Springs clinched the Lakeland Conference crown. Tonight, they fall in a non-conference game, but they're still heading to the playoffs. Dowagiac closes out with a win, 35-0 over Cass, and Brandywine a nice win over Wyoming Godwin Heights. We'll see if that gets them into the postseason.
All right, it's Buchanan over Union City, 34-0 on the shutout. Still no score from Benton Harbor and Hopkins. Decatur, 42, a victory over Coloma's 6.
And one more result. Constantine's going to head into the postseason with a 46-0 win over Parchment. Remember, playoff brackets will be announced Sunday evening north of the state line.